Welcome back everyone, and this video is the continuation for the part of introduction to the gravitation. And in this video we will try to discuss more about this law of gravitation and how this force acts on the masses, and how do we determine the force acting on any mass kept between different masses. Okay, so first we will try to discuss about universal law of gravitation. The previous video I've already explained that when we have two masses m1 and m2, point masses m1 and m2 separated by a distance d, m1 and m2 separated by a distance d, the force of gravitation acting between the two masses is equal to g m1 m2 by d square, where g is the universal gravitational constant and its value is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. So this is the value of this gravitational constant, and where m1 and m2 are the masses of these 2 point masses separated by this distance d. And this gravitational force is an attractive force, which means that if these two masses are separated by this distance d, this is the force of gravitation acting between them. That means this mass m1 will pull this mass m2 towards itself by a force F. That means mass m2 will experience a force F. The mass m2 will experience a force F towards m1 in this direction. On m2 the force acts in this direction. Similarly, this mass m1 will also exert the same force F. Same force will also experience the same force F towards m2. Okay, so this mass m2 experiences a force F due to this mass m1 and towards m1. Similarly, m1 will also experience same force F, so the same magnitude of force F due to m2 and towards m2. See that the force exerted by both the masses has the same magnitude, but the difference is they are acting in the opposite directions on these two different masses. So this is something like here the Newton's third law is also valid. Something like when a force acts, when there are two bodies, when one body exerts a force on the second body will also exert the same magnitude of force but in the opposite direction. So here also the same thing, similar to the Newton's third law, is seen. So here the Newton's third law is applicable. The same magnitude of forces acting on both of them, but they are acting in the opposite direction. Okay, so this is the basic idea about the force of gravitation acting between two masses m1 and m2 separated by a distance d. Okay, and how can we express this force of gravitation in the vector form, in the vector form? Okay, in the vector form. For that we will try to express the position of one of the masses with respect to the other mass. What I mean with this is, so let's say we have two masses m1 and m2. Now in this situation, okay, let's try to represent. So I will use a little terminology here. I will call R21 the R21. What this means is, this vector, what this vector means is, it means the position vector of 2 with respect to 1. Position vector of 2 with respect to 1. Okay, it means that the position vector of the mass m2 with respect to the position of m1. So this is nothing but R21. This is the position vector of the second mass with respect to the first one. Similarly, we can represent Similarly, we can represent if I have m1 here and m2 here, m1 and m2 here, the position vector of the first mass with respect to the second mass is expressed this way. So this is, see, if you are at m2 and you want to draw the position vector of m1 with respect to m2, so this is what it looks like. So this represents the position of vector of the first mass with respect to the second mass. Okay, now having represented the position vectors of one mass with respect to the other mass, how can we represent the force of gravitation acting on those masses in terms of those position vectors? Let's say now I want to represent the force acting on one of these masses in vector form. Let's take m1. So the force acting on the first, so here we have considered only the magnitude of the force, gravitational force acting between them, but now I'm trying to represent the force acting on mass m1 in the vector form, okay. So the magnitude is the same, but the additional thing we need to consider is the direction, okay. So magnitude, we are trying to represent the force acting on 1. So what we'll do is, see, if you look at 1, the force acting on 1 will be towards the second mass. The force acting on 1 is towards the second mass. So it is in the direction of r2 1 bar, or the position vector of second with respect to first one. So the force acting on 1 is in the right direction, or I can say in the direction of r2 1 bar. So what I will do is, I will try to find the unit vector in this direction, or in the direction of r2 1 bar. So the unit vector in the direction of r2 1 bar, or this r2 1 cap, is equal to r2 1 bar by its magnitude, or you can just represent r something, doesn't matter. Here I have used it differently, here this differently. So to avoid confusion, I'll just use this. Okay, so this is the unit vector along this position vector r21 bar. Okay, now the force acting on 1 will also be in the same direction. Okay, and here D is the separation between the two masses. So now what I'll do is, this distance D in this situation is also equal to the magnitude of this r21 bar, or in this situation D can also be written as r21 bar. See that this r21 bar is the position vector of 2 with respect to 1, so its magnitude will be nothing but the distance between the two masses. So that's what I have done. Distance between the two masses is equal to the magnitude of this position vector. So having done this, now we will represent the force acting on m1 in terms of vector quantities. Okay, now so I can write this as force acting on 1 is equal to magnitude of the force into a unit vector along the direction of that force. So the magnitude of force acting on m1 is g m1 m2 by d square, or d can be written something like this, mod r2 bar whole square. This is the magnitude of force acting on m1 multiplied by a unit vector along the direction of r21 bar, or in the right direction, because the force on m1 is acting in the right direction, which is nothing but this r21 cap. So which is equal to g m1 m2 by 21 bar whole square into this r21 cap can be written something like this, r21 bar by r21, the magnitude of this vector. So this can be written something like g m1 m2 by 21 bar whole cube into r21 bar. Okay, So this is how we represent the force acting on the mass m1 in terms of the vector form. Similarly, we can do the same thing for mass m2 also. We can represent the force acting on m2 in terms of vector form similar to this. How we can do that is, the force acting on the second one will be equal to, remember that the magnitude will be same, just that these vectors change. So in the place of r21 bar, we will get r12 bar whole cube into r12 bar. Note that the magnitude of r21 bar and r12 bar will be the same. So in these both situations, the magnitude of both of them is same, and the only difference you find in both of them is this thing. And the only difference in r21 bar and r12 bar is their direction. Both of them have the same magnitude, which is equal to the distance between the two masses, but the only difference is that they are in the opposite directions. So we can write r21 bar is equal to minus r12 bar, because they are in opposite directions and having same magnitude. So these two can also be written something like this: f1 bar is equal to minus f2 bar. What this indicates is that, how can we write this? r21 bar, note that r21 bar and r12 bar have the same magnitude, but they are in the opposite direction. So we can write them something like this. So if you have two vectors with the same magnitude but in the opposite direction, they can be written something like this. Okay, this is negative of this. By substituting r12 bar is equal to minus r21 bar, you will get f2 bar is equal to minus f1 bar, or the same as f1 bar is equal to minus f2 bar. So from this simple line, what we can understand is, if you have two masses separated by certain distance, so the force of gravitation, the force of gravitation will have the same magnitude, but the only difference is that they are in the opposite directions. So that's what we can come to a conclusion from this. Okay, so this is how we represent the force acting on the gravitational force acting on a mass in terms of vector form. So now we will try to proceed to something called as principle of superposition. So in this lecture, I will not be explaining any problems related to the gravitation. So in the upcoming video, I will explain of applications and different kind of problems related to the gravitation. But this video is completely related to the concepts of the gravitation. So if you want, you can make a copy of this, and you can pause and you can make a copy of this, and now I am erasing everything. And next thing what we'll try to do is, so this is how the force acts on a mass when two masses are present. What if we have more masses, not just one mass, something like 3, 4, 5, 6. So how do we find gravitational force in such a situation? So that's what we will try to do now. And one more important thing, try to memorize the value of gravitational constant, which is that capital G, which will be very helpful in so many cases. Now let's try to evaluate the method to find gravitational force acting on a body when different number of masses are possible, something like 3, 4, 5 and so on. Okay, now let's say we have a mass setup something like this. Let me draw a straight line passing through M1. Assume this as a straight line passing through M1, and I have two masses something like this. Okay, remember that gravitational force is always an attractive force. So whenever you place two masses, when you have, what I mean by attractive force is when you have two masses something like m1 and m2 separated by distance, the gravitational force will always try to bring them closer to each other. They always try to come closer. Okay, that's what I mean by the gravitational force being an attractive force. So they try to get attracted towards each other, or they try to come closer to each other. That's what is meant by attractive force. Okay, remember that point. And they never repel each other. Masses always try to attract each other due to the gravitation. Okay, now let's proceed to this. How can we evaluate force when we have more than two masses? Let's take this m1, and we have two masses m2 and m3. For now, just let me erase this m2. I will introduce it later. So now we have two masses m1 and m3. So now we will only discuss about the magnitude of the forces. I will not be considering the direction. Okay, I'll just represent the direction, but I will not be representing the force in vector form. Okay, we will just consider the magnitudes, and I will represent the directions in terms of arrows, left, right, and all that. Okay, let's say r13. No, I'll just take the distance or the magnitude. So let's say r13 is the distance between these two masses m1 and m3. So if r13 is distance between m1 and m3, if this is the distance between them, then the gravitational force acting between the two masses, okay, I will represent f13 means f13, f31. What I mean by them is that it means that the force of gravitation acting between 1 and 3 in this situation, f13 or f31, both mean same, which means the gravitational force acting between them, which is g m1 m3 by r13 whole square. So this is the force of gravitation acting between these two masses. Okay, now this is okay, this is from universal law of gravitation. But what if I introduce another mass, something like this, another mass m2 in between these two masses at some distance, let's say r12 from the first mass m1. So r12 is the distance between m1 and m2. So now what I've done is I've introduced another mass m2 between these two masses m1 and m3 at a distance of r12 from the first mass m1. Then in this situation, the gravitational force acting between these two masses can be written by using the universal law of gravitation. Okay, we can write something like this. Now let's say m3 was not present, only m2 was present. Then the gravitational force acting between the two masses, the magnitude can be written something like this from universal law of gravitation. Okay, so in first situation we had only m1 and m3, and the gravitational force acting between the masses is represented something like this. Now I'll introduce m2, and let's say I've removed m3, only m1 and m2 were present. Now the force of attraction or the gravitational force acting between m1 and m2 is this. Now what if both m2 and m3 were present? Now what will be the total gravitational force acting on m1 due to both the masses? Okay, so if only m3 were present, the gravitational force acting on m1 will be f13 in the right direction. f13, f31 both are same, it doesn't matter whatever you write here. Okay, if only m3 were present, and if only m2 were present, the gravitational force acting on m1 is f12. The gravitational force acting on m1 is f12, and it's towards right direction because it tries to get attracted towards m2. And even in the first situation, the gravitational force makes this body m1 to get attracted to m3. So the force acting on m1 will be in the right direction. These were the forces acting individually only when one of these forces were present individually. Now what if when they are present together? Then in such a situation, the total gravitational force acting on M1 will be equal to sum of these two forces, sum of the two forces exerted by them individually. Individually, M3 can exert this force on this mass in the right direction, and if only M2 are present, M2 can exert this force on M1 in the right direction. And when these two are present, the total force, gravitational force acting on M1 due to both of these will be equal to the vector sum of these two things, vector sum. Okay, vector sum, remember that forces are vector quantities, so whenever you want to add them, you have to add them vectorially. You can't just add them like scalars. Okay, you need to take care of the direction also. Okay, but since these two forces are in the same direction, I will write something like this. For this particular situation, the total force acting on 1 is equal to F13 plus F12. Remember that these two are in the same direction. That's why I was able to add in this situation. Or in a general way, I can write something like this in vector form. So the force, the total force, gravitational force acting on this first mass is equal to F13 for 2. Means the force acting on the first one due to 3 as a magnitude F13 and in the right direction. And this is the force acting on the first one due to 2. Okay, so the force acting on the first one will be equal to the vector sum of these two individual forces. That's how you can calculate the gravitational force acting on a mass when more than two masses are present. When only two masses are present, it's very easy, but when more masses are present, this is how you can calculate the gravitational force acting on a mass. Similarly, the gravitational force acting on mass M2 can be written something like this. F2 is equal to F21 bar plus F23 bar. What I mean by this is F21 bar is the force acting on the second one, the force acting on second one due to first one, due to the first mass. F21 bar is the force acting on 2 due to 1, force acting on 2 due to 1, which will be in the left direction. Okay, and what about this F2 bar? The force acting on the second mass due to the third mass, which will be in the right direction because this mass tries to get attracted to M3. So this is in the left direction, something like this, F21 bar, and this is in the right direction, F23 bar. And the vector sum of these two is equal to the total force acting, gravitational force acting on M2 due to these two individual masses. And similarly, the same thing could be used for M3 also. The force, the total gravitational force acting on the third mass is equal to the gravitational force acting on third one due to the first one, which can be represented something like this, force on third due to 1 plus force acting on third one due to 2. And note that in this situation, both F31 bar and F32 bar will be in the same direction. Force on third one due to first one will be something like this. Similarly, the force acting on third one due to second one will also be in the left direction. Okay, the sum of these two gives us the resultant gravitational force acting on third one. This is what is meant by the principle of superposition. When you have more than two masses, the total gravitational force acting on a mass will be equal to the sum of all the gravitational force exerted by the other masses if they were acting individually. Okay, so in this situation, that's the definition of principle of superposition. Now you can find that in your books. Here I will be focusing more on the meaning of it. So if you take M1, the total gravitational force acting on this mass M1, which is F1 bar, is equal to the sum of gravitational forces exerted by this mass if they were present individually. So this is the force exerted by 3 if it was present individually, and this was the force that can be exerted by 2 if it was present individually. So the sum of these two forces gives us the total gravitational force acting on the first mass. So this is about the principle of superposition, and in the next video I will try to explain different applications and different problems based on this principle of superposition and the universal law of gravitation. Okay, first we'll start with the basic problems or simpler ones, and then we will advance ourselves to the mains level, NEET level, and as well as to the advanced level. But the most important thing you need to think is that you need to understand the concepts clearly, and you need to question them. Okay, memorizing the facts or memorizing the subject will not help you in physics. You have to memorize things, and as well as you have to understand them. Only then the things will be helpful for your preparation. Okay, and next thing, if you have liked this video, do not forget to share with your friends, and if you understood everything, then try to leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and have a great day.